Let me take a minute now and just share a few of the misconceptions of the game, the kind of questions that people ask me all the time about their games, and if they focus on these things, they're really going to ruin their games. And the one that I always get asked is, well, Wally, should I keep my left arm straight? And I see people on the tee getting up there and their left arm is so straight and rigid that there's no way they can make a nice fluid swing in a circular motion around their body. Now, what we've shown you is how to take a nice addressed position. We've taught you how to put your hands on the club and then to relax those shoulders. And it's okay to let the arms just kind of relax, because as you make your swing, the swinging motion and the weight of the club head is just going to stretch your arms out. So I ask my students just to kind of just stretch your arms. Stretch them. Don't try to keep them rigid and tense. And then there's always the question, well, should I keep my head down? And that is a real destroyer in the swing. You want to, when you set up to the ball, we've talked about this in the posture, you want to just kind of glance down at the ball. Don't get mesmerized by it, and get all that focus down there and get that head down, because you can't make a decent shoulder turn. So keep the chin up. Get that athletic posture that we talked about. Chin up, and then when we swing back, the shoulders can turn right back underneath and through, propelling that circular motion around the arc, just like this. I think that's going in the hole. How about this one? Should I roll my wrist through the ball? Well, we've covered that in detail. And of course, you never want to try to consciously roll your wrist. That's why we've shown you how to cock your wrists. See? With the hanger. They just flow through. Don't be thinking about all these things, trying to roll and keep things under and move things and keep things straight. Just work with the training aids and they're going to give you the feeling. Then you trust the feelings. Now, let's talk about another one. You know, the powers in the legs. That one I hear all the time. Well, we talked about how the legs just support the swinging of the clubs. And what did we say the power was? Where's the ultimate power source? It's being able to set those wrists when you swing back and around and through. This is where the power comes, using this flailing motion. The legs support. Let's think about another one. How about hitting down on the ball? Do I hit down on the ball, Wally? I hear this question all the time. This type of action. Now, I showed you that with the tempo ball, didn't I, earlier in the tape? We don't want this motion of hitting down. That's why you've got the tempo ball. That's why you need to work with this to feel the circular motion. And when you do, as you get into your stance, you'll feel the ball gradually tap and brush the ground as it comes through. This is building the correct swing feeling. So don't try to hit down on the ball. Well, let's think about another one. Do I hit a straight shot by keeping the face straight on the target line as I come through the ball? And we've covered that thoroughly in this tape. When you come through the ball, you don't want to try to keep the face straight down the line. We've talked about let it continue around in its circle. Let this circular line come through and merge with the target line and send the ball to the hole. So don't try to keep the face straight. Let it just swing right around and send the ball to the pin. The ball should never be your focus totally, but the swinging of the club sending the ball to the target, which is the pin. So don't get all your focus down and make that your target and ever hit at the ball. But think about swinging through, sending it to the hole, like this. Just back and through. What about the misconception I hear all the time? Well, if I make a longer swing and a bigger swing, I'm going to be able to hit the ball farther. Well, that has a little truth to it, but it's a lot more important to make a nice centered contact with the ball to send it to the hole than to make a great big long swing, because if you try to make it long, there's a tendency to sway and not really make solid contact. A ball that is struck with the club head squarely at 80 miles an hour is going to go a lot farther than a ball that's hit 100 miles an hour off center. So think about getting a nice controlled swing, the correct posture, and then make that swing just back and through to the hole. I didn't even have to think about that one. It's right up by the pin. Well, let's think about another misconception. How about people say, well, should I sit on a stool, feel like I'm sitting on a stool when I address the ball? And that gets the weight so far back on the heels that you can't make a nice circular swing. The club gets lifted up, or there's a tendency to go way onto the toes. So go back over your stance and posture sections of the tape. Be sure that you get the correct posture and get into that athletic stance with the weight on the balls of your feet, not on the back of your feet. And practice makes perfect. Well, it doesn't make perfect. It makes permanent. Whatever you're doing over and over again, you're going to continue to do it. So if you practice incorrectly, you're going to have an incorrect golf swing. Perfect practice makes permanent. So practice correctly. Go out and take your time. And then lastly, this is a question I hear all the time. Should I go around, and when I swing around, should I hit the back of the ball? Well, let's take a ball and let's divide it into quarters. And if we're working on that nice inside path to square, the focus should be on swinging through the inside corner, the quarter of the ball right here, rather than at the back of the ball. And what I like to do, and I showed this in the driving section, is take my ball and set up to it and turn the Titleist or the label on the ball, take it from the back of the ball and just turn it a little bit this way. Now my focus can be swinging through the inside quarter of the ball, back and through to the target. Well, I hope these misconceptions have helped you to understand maybe some things that you've always wanted to ask, that you've had questions about. But the main way that you're going to be able to deal with these is to work with the training aids, because they help reinforce the correct feelings and they put you in the correct position that you should be for your golf swing. When we get into hooking, if the face is pointing to the left at impact, that's going to produce a hook. The club face is coming around into the ball, and we talked about this earlier in the ball flight laws. The ball is going to go this way. So we have to develop a swing feeling that's going to have the face stay square to impact, rather than coming over and closing, sending the ball to the left in a hook. Generally, the thing that causes a hook is a faulty grip. The right hand may be way under the shaft, and as the club comes in towards the ball, the right hand overpowers the left arm, closing the face on the ball, producing that ugly hook spin over to the left. Out of control. Again, we're crossing the lines, which we don't want in the golf swing. That's what produces these shots, when we cross a line rather than merging with a line. So we've got to develop some type of a drill, some feelings to keep the face as it comes through square to our target, to keep it from crossing. One way to do that is to address the ball, and as you come through the ball, to hold. Work on holding the face through. It's kind of like a little punch shot. We swing through and hold, like this. And you can see that keeps that club face from turning over and pointing left, sending the ball with an ugly hook. Now, another way you can practice that, to enable that face to keep from going to the left and the left arm to breaking down, is this little drill. Swinging back and at impact to let go with the right hand. That lets the club face swing on through, and it gives that nice left arm control rather than breaking over and playing that hook, ugly hook. Again, when you practice these drills, take your time. Don't be in a rush. Think about what you're doing. Do it with your eyes closed to feel it. A couple of times, Feel the left arm controlling, and then play your shot. Doesn't get much straighter than that. And again, it all goes back to the fundamentals. Go back into the tape, watch, proper posture, proper grip, proper swing feeling. That's all you need. The slice, the most dreaded thing that people just hate to see when they go out and play. We're going to talk about it right now, and you're going to get some great tips about curing your slice. How does it start? Well, the guy gets up, and here's his first shot in golf, and he hits this big slice, and it goes way off into the trees, or he misses the green by 30 yards to the right. Now, what's he going to do on the next shot? You're right. He's going to aim more over to the left. Now, what happens when he aims more to the left? His shoulders aim over there, his body aims over there, and where is his swing going to go? That's right. It's going to come across the ball. I mean, big time. And the more he tries to play the game, the more he goes farther and farther left, and pretty soon he's got no chance. The slice occurs when the face opens up, because the ball goes where the face looks, the shaft swings across the target line, and it puts that spin on the ball, and it gets out of control. The path goes left, the face opens, and it's a never-ending battle. Let's talk about how we can get out of a slice. I want to give you some drills that will really help you to cure that. Always when you're doing these drills, use your sponge to work with. Set it down to the outside of the ball. Start with it a little farther away from it as you address the ball, and always use your ruler to line up. And make some little swings with the club with the sponge in that position. Now, the first couple of little swings that you make, because you're swinging across, you're probably going to nick the sponge. It's not going to hurt you, but it's going to give you that feeling of this nice circular path with the inner line merging onto the target line. We get spin on the ball when the lines cross. If I make my swing correctly, I'm going to come right around inside the arc and send the ball just perfectly straight, or maybe with a little draw, which is my preference. So use your tempo sponge to put on the outside of the ball. Work it in a little closer each time, and pretty soon you're going to cure it. Always be sure when you practice to get out of a slice that you take your time to get the correct posture, and you use your little teaching station to line up each time onto your target. Then work with the sponge. Now, let me give you some drills that will help you to cure that slice, to totally get out of it. Here's a back to the hole drill. I use this one to really work with slicers. You simply address the ball, normal position, and then you turn around, keep the club there, and you turn your back to the hole. Now, why this is so effective is that as you make your swing, it forces you to come on an inside path and return to the ball. You don't want to use a lot of shoulder turn. Just do it with your hands, nice and slowly. Take your time with this drill. It'll pay off. There's no way that you can slice a ball from this position. As you swing through, just let your hands come right on around, and you'll see the ball hook, some of you for the first time. Now, the next progression from that is to come around and start from this position and move around a little bit more this way, come up on the toe. Still, my back is towards the hole, which causes me to feel this inside circle, see, merging with my target line. From this position, I simply swing back and through on a nice circular motion to the target line and then through. I like using this one when I'm working with my students. It helps them to feel how that club face comes from an inside path through the ball And when they come through, I have them tap the board with the toe of the club. You see, this is the way the blade should come through. A slice would come through with the open blade, would come across and probably miss this. So Phil, now just do a little practice one. Come through, and slow motion is a great way to practice these drills. Just like that, tap it with the toe. Now if you're out in your backyard and you've got a fence post you can practice this with, if you're on the driving range, you might want to do this even with a cart tire, but very easily. Just kind of roll the toe through and bounce it off the cart tire. There you go. Now you're feeling those hands coming through, squaring the blade, and it should come to a toe-up position. Now go ahead and play a shot, all the way through. Split grip drill is another anti-slice drill. And before I get into that, I want to show you another unique way that you can use the ruler. You know, we're working on that inside path to the ball, and one way to help you see that path is just simply to turn the ruler, and this is our directional line, a little bit in this direction. And that'll help you to feel the way that you're supposed to swing. You may even want to turn it totally around like this, see, to feel that inside path to the ball. And all of these drills help you to feel that. Adjust your sponge, keep it close to the ball. And on the split grip, we're starting with our grip here, dropping the right hand down below. Always take some nice little easy practice swings so that you're feeling the motion. Close your eyes, feel it. And on this one, then visually feel that inner path into the inside part of the ball. Set up to the ball, and then take a nice smooth swing right through the ball. You can see how that ball really curves off to the left. That's why it's an anti-slice drill. Now, let's pick the sponge up and work with this one. Just simply put it under your forward arm like this, squeeze it a little bit, and start with little practice swings with your feet together, letting the club come through and around. Now, if you slice, you know what happens is the club face comes across and then out, and the sponge would drop out. So if you're a slicer right away, you work with this drill, you're going to probably be dropping the sponge a lot. So put it under there. Like I said, take some practice swings. Don't get in a rush. When you practice, you're out there to develop the right feelings, just like I'm doing. Now you can see that that club is swinging around on its natural arc. There's no stopping. There's no cutting across. Then set up to the ball and make a nice little swing back and through. You can see it went nice and straight, out a little bit to the right, hooking back. Now on all these trouble shots, it's very easy for me to pull them off because I understand exactly what's happening in the golf swing. Now when we get into topping, what simply is happening is the club has got to come up on top of the ball. So something's got to come up on the backswing or on the downswing. Our circle simply moves up, and that pulls the club head up on top of the ball. Now, there's different ways that can cause this, and the most general is a person that's trying to stay down so much to keep from topping. As he swings back, he has nowhere to go but up. He shifts up, raises his spine, and then when he comes through, he's on top of the ball. Let me show you. He's staying down, he swings back, he's up, then when he swings through, he's over the top of the ball. So when you want to keep from topping the ball, I like to have people address the ball up above the ball, up in here, and then when you make your swing, you'll have a tendency to let the club swing down to contact the ball, like this. We want to go over a few drills now to show you how to cure the top shot. Here's one way to cure topping, and that's to have a friend hold a club on top of your head after you take the correct position, and then take a couple little swings. Go ahead, Phil. That away, back and through. And then you should be brushing the ground. Don't raise up. That away. Now address the ball, and I'll start you, and swing. Two other major things cause a top. One is As you swing back on your backswing, the weight doesn't get transferred. We don't make that uncoiling motion, and the club comes over the top, tops the ball. Improper uncoiling of the lower body. And then another is a try to scoop the ball up in the air, and the club goes up over the top. Now, we can use our little sponge again, stick it under the left arm, like this, take some practice swings again, and what this is teaching is that nice inside move through in a circle, and it's keeping that left arm moving forward rather than coming out, which would be a top. Here we go. Practice with it, just like I'm doing. Feel it now. And swing through the ball. You can see the ball just went out there in just a perfect trajectory all the way to the fairway. Nothing is a substitute for working on the fundamentals. The dreaded shank. What is a shank? A shank occurs when the club head comes down towards the ball and the ball strikes the hosel of the club rather than the face, and it just squirts right off to the right. How does that happen? Usually from standing too close to the ball, and the club swings back, and then on the downswing it goes to the outside and contacts the hosel and squirts right off to the right. I'm going to try one. I'm going to get in close here and swing back and come down. Up, there's the shank. See, I know how to do it because I know how not to do it. But let me show you how to get out of that. You've got to work on your posture, and you've got to be sure that you measure yourself accurately when you come into it. And then take your stance so that when you come around your arc, you're going to hit it nice and square right on the face. The real killer is club path. Getting in too close to the ball, and also on the backswing, bringing the club head in behind your hands. Then on the downswing, you're trapped in here, and the only way you can get back is to come back this way outside, and you catch it right in the hosel. That's another way that you can shank it. Most shanks occur when the club comes around and the left shoulder starts its downward motion rather than the legs, and there we go again. Those are the major problems with the shank and what occurs in it. Be sure you measure yourself, and you've got a great training aid to help you get out of it that will form a path to let that club come inside rather than out. If you've got problems shanking, just put your sponge right up against the ball when you line up to your hole. Now, if you come outside with that club head, it'll tap the sponge. So work on playing shots from the inside, see, and through to the hole. If you do it incorrectly, you're going to touch the sponge. Work on your posture, setting up to the ball, swinging the arms back, and then also use your hanger to get your wrist set in the right position. Work with the coat hanger, put it on your grip, just like this. Get your right posture, and be sure you keep a light grip. You know, the shank puts so much tension because you're so afraid of doing it again that you get all tense and your shoulders get tight, your hands get tight, and then there's no way you can make a fluid swing. So the hanger will put your wrists right in a perfect position to make that swing right down and through to the hole. Use the sponge, use the hanger, feel the arms swinging, send it up to the cup, and keep a nice light tension with your grip. Let me give you one more drill. It's called a split hand drill. Just put your hands on, put your right hand down below your left, take some practice swings, and you'll feel that this drill will keep that club from going outside and pushing the hosel into the ball. It'll also allow the club face to make its natural rotation around the arc, catching the ball. Here we go. Boy, was that solid. If you practice these drills and work with your sponge and the hanger, you should never shank again. What causes the sky ball? The pop-up. Well, it's a descending movement of the club on the way down that comes down and it goes underneath the ball, and the ball contacts the top of the club and pops it straight up in the air. So a key to understand how to get out of that is you've got to learn to swing and make that sweeping motion through the ball. In the driver section I covered that, how to get that feeling, so I'd suggest you go back to that and watch that for the fundamentals of having a good drive. Another thing that causes that steep angle is just the focus on the ball rather than on the swing. And when the focus goes down, the head usually goes down and the body, and then there's a tendency from here to want to lift. And when that club comes up this way, there's a tendency to slam it down towards the ball on the downswing. So we want a nice level swing without any lifting or hitting at the ball. And that's a common problem of a person that's skying the ball, is on the downswing they hit at the ball, and that throws the club head down under the ball and it hits on top, and then it's a pop-up. Another reason that you may be skying your shot is a reverse pivot. And that's where the weight doesn't get over to this thigh, you don't coil, and you swing this way. Now see, when I swing, I lift my arms, and then from this position, as I try to get back to the ball, it causes me to come right down behind the ball, and I'm going to pop it up every time. So you want to work, when you practice, if you're skying it, first of all, get a nice tension-free shoulder, and then work on coiling on the way back. Don't lift. Go into the coiling section where I work with the sponge under the foot, and I've got all those nice drills to show you how to coil your body and make that backswing. And then as you come through the ball, have a feeling of sweeping the ball out to the fairway. You may want to tee the ball up on a tee, or you know how I used it in the clinic, teeing them up on a high tee and swinging level right around my spine and through to the hole. Let me give you a couple of drills that will help you to get out of skying the ball. The first one is to tee up a ball and put a tee in the ground about a foot behind the ball and a little bit inside your target line. And as you make your backswing and you coil, let the club head come back and brush that little tee. See, now that's going to keep you away from lifting the club. So turn and brush and through. See how nice and level I came through? There's no chance of skying. Here's another one. You might want to write this one down on your little card to take it to the range. Set up to an imaginary ball. You can do this one in your backyard, where you want to hit the ball. Turn back halfway to our toe-up position, put the club down, and then simply sweep through the ball and up over your left shoulder. Now you see what that's doing is, that's teaching you to make a nice level swing through the ball, not a steep angle, right on up to the shoulder. And we'll do that a number of times. And after you do it, then make your swing, and I'll tell you, it'll really develop that beautiful coiling takeaway and a level swing to the ball. Here's another one. Put a ball down, tee it up, and now let's put a tee up out in front of the ball. And when I swing through this time, I'm going to sweep through the ball and sweep through to try to pick up that tee, to tap it. Here we go. Feel it. Always rehearse the right movements. Back and through. Where'd the tee go? I picked it right up with the club. I really like that one. Practice your ball position. You can't practice enough. Lastly, if you're skying, when you practice on the range or even on the course, take some practice swings up here like a baseball player, because that'll teach you that level swing all the way around, just like that nice merry-go-round and through the ball. And there's no substitute for fundamentals. Checking your grip, ball position, stance, posture. Go on back in the tapes now and pick up those puzzle parts and work on your game.